Welcome to Subramani. Please subscribe to the channel. Please hit the bell icon. Please share on WhatsApp or whatever with your friends. So here I'm going to talk about the great crash of 1929 because we are just 4 years away from its centenary. What did we actually learn from the 1929 crash? Where a lot of learnings were there, and we've also repeated that mistake, right? In 1987, 2008, and all those things. We really repeated 2018 also. Perhaps the market entered into a very speculative mode. But yeah, what are the things that we learned? One, speculative bubbles are dangerous. When there is speculation, when more and more people are buying, and more and more people are buying on the margin, you know you're in a speculative bubble. Should we say there should be no speculation? We are wrong. Today, with how many years of mutual fund? Let's say in 1965 is when UTI came into being. So you're talking of 35 plus 25, 60 years of mutual funds, or at least 30 years of the private sector mutual funds aggressively selling. We still have maybe 4 crore mutual fund investors, and we have 12 crore Dream 11 players, and we have I don't know, but we have a higher number of cryptocurrency players than we have mutual fund investors. So speculation is part of what we love. So we will continue to speculate, but one very important lesson was the 1920s saw rampant speculation, and stocks were often bought on the margin. So that led to a problem that when the crash happened, obviously it was magnified much more because of that. Another thing we realized was regulatory oversight is a must. So now we have better regulatory oversight. So the SEC Act, I think, was formed in 1934, if I am not wrong. So 1930, it took them some time to realize that more regulations are necessary, and with more regulations also came, I think, the Siegel Act. Let me just check, when did that come? The Glass-Steagall Act was again, I think, in I think it was a little later, I'm not sure about the date. Again, robust regulation curbs reckless financial behavior, right? 1929 also saw a very fragile banking system. You could just blow up banks by borrowing from banks and not repaying properly, and the bank unable to know the market losses, and so banks started defaulting. So yes, if the banking system is not strong enough, you could have problems. Now look at India. In 1992 there was a scam. After that the SEBI was born. So SEBI was born around that period, right? So it was easy perhaps for Manmohan Singh to push through DMAT, saying, look, so many frauds happen. So everybody kept quiet. Opposition, nobody could say, because it was DMAT was pushed through saying if there is DMAT there will be no scams. I mean, it solved one of the problems for sure, but yeah, it was easier to implement. 1929 also saw global economic interdependence, which was perhaps little less. The diversification of portfolio was less. So that one more thing which you learnt is you have to have a diversified portfolio. So even if there is a problem in one part of the world, the other part of the world need not suffer. So if today there is a problem in the US market, your Indian portfolio may not suffer as much, right? So yeah, the crash's ripple effects worsened by protectionist policies were also there. So that definitely hit. And we are now back to protectionist policies under the great American president, POTUS, Donald Trump. You also realize that markets are driven by greed, fear, the FOMO, and now even FOGI, that is the fear of getting in, right? So one more new fear. So that's also true. Then we also realize that diversification reduces risk. We then also realized, hold your breath, that economic recovery takes time. 1929 index was reached in I think 1954, 25 years. Now one thing is to scare you into saying, look, 25 years you may have to wait for the market to recover. The other way to look at it is, if you include dividends and if you did an SIP, it may not be 25 years, it may be as less as 10 years, right? So dividend reinvesting happens because you're in the growth option, and you're doing an SIP, so your recovery time will no longer be 25 years and things like that. It will be more like 7-8 years, right? So we also realize that there will be social and political consequences of such events, and that history will repeat itself, and vigilance vigilance does not mean only what SEBI does or SEC does. You also have to be vigilant to your portfolio, saying what is happening in my portfolio, am I being attentive, am I understanding what is happening. The worst risk you can take, like Buffett says, is when you don't understand what you're doing. If you don't understand equity, don't be in equity. Some things which we have learned from equity is the government has also made it little, I do not know whether little easier or little difficult to invest in the for the long run. For the long run, you have your NPS, you have your you have your PPF, etc., which the government says is good for the long run. I would think NPS is better than PPF simply because it has got an element of equity. I'm not saying don't put money in PPF. I recommend it. I also put my money, but don't expect it to give you great returns. It might at best match inflation. It won't even beat inflation, right? But it is tax free. So if it gives you 7% return, it is 7% return, right? If inflation is 5%, you've got 2% return, which is not bad. If inflation is 9%, PPF is not good, but you wouldn't know what to do with PPF for the next 25 years, so please have your PPF account. The challenge is the market will do what it does. So what should we do if we know there is a crash coming? So first of all, we still do not know what caused the crash almost 100 years ago. A lot of speculation, lot of theory as to what happened, but yes, it also led to formation of SEC, etc. It took a market a long time to recover. So what are my solutions? Am I saying there's a market crash coming? Yes, I'm saying there's a market crash coming. Do I know when it is coming? No, I don't know when it is coming. So the solution is very simple. Keep doing an SIP. Keep doing SIP in a good fund. Also, for retirement, I keep talking about putting your money in different buckets, right? So a bucket where there is best liquidity, so you 3 to 5 years expenses there. Then you have the second bucket which has 3 to 10 years expenses there, and then the third one where your money is growing. Similarly, if you do, and if you kept your portfolios in different places, like say something you kept in money control, something you kept in value research, something you kept elsewhere, right? So you have 3 buckets. You know which bucket to see for what. If you want immediate liquidity, go and look at your liquid bucket, bucket number 1, or whatever, bucket number A, whatever you want to call it, and see whether you have enough money for 3 years expenses. I'm assuming even if you're earning, this could be that kind of an emergency fund or things like that. That should be in bucket number A. It could be 6 months expenses, 8 months expenses, whatever. If you have some expense, like your daughter is in 12th standard and now you're going to pay for medical or engineering expenses, that money should also obviously be in bucket A, because you require it within the next 3 years. So all that should be in bucket A, and you should be looking at bucket A only from a liquidity point of view. Don't look at the return and say, oh my god, I'm getting pathetic return. This is not a return bucket. Return bucket is bucket number C. So look at bucket number C and see whether you're getting adequate return. Somewhere you're getting 12, somewhere you're getting 14, somewhere you're getting 18, somewhere you're getting -5, whatever. All those different schemes would be there, and on an overall basis, are you happy with the return that you're getting? That's all you have to look at. When the market falls or crashes, look at bucket number A and say, okay, I have enough money for the next 3 to 4 years, 5 years, and I'm also earning, so I don't have to worry about what is happening to my bucket number C. Look at your bucket number C and say, okay, this much money I have which is growing. Part of the growing up is also to tackle the deviations. So yes, market will deviate. Last year I got 24% return. This year I will get less. Yes, I've got -5% so far, and I think this year return will be only -5. That's fine. That's going to happen in your equity portfolio. So being prepared is keeping your buckets separate and looking at only looking at the equity only when the market falls and saying, okay, I know this has fallen. I know why it has fallen, or I don't even know why it has fallen, I know it will recover, right? So genuinely look at your investment in 2-3 buckets. That psychologically prepares you much better than saying, oh my god, all my money is gone, or saying, oh, market is going to crash, so let me keep everything in cash. Both don't help, because maybe the market will crash after 20 years. Maybe the market will genuinely crash after 2 years. We have no clue. There could be many reasons, right? It could be something happening in the US, something happening in Europe, something happening in Japan. We have no clue what international factors can be, something happening in India, right? So all those risks are there, and as India gets bigger and bigger and more prosperous, India will have more enemies. So will you have more skirmishes with Pakistan, etc.? I don't know. Geopolitics, nobody knows what's going to happen, right? So with all these uncertainties, bucket theory, even while you're working, makes sense, because it means you will not look at the wrong bucket and feel, oh my god, all my money is gone. When the market comes down, you look at bucket number A and say, look, I have enough money to wait for the market to recover. Yes, the market is going to take maybe 5 years to recover. In those 5 years, I'll continue to do my SIP, which means I will acquire more and more units at lower prices, right? So I will do that. Yes, I'm very scared, so I will not do that. Both are possible, but you will not worry about selling bucket number C or bucket number 3, saying, oh my god, the market is crashed and so I should remove everything. That's the worst thing you can do. Thank you.